I called my mom and I told her, "What do you think about philanthropic studies?" She went, "Oh my goodness, of course, that's exactly what you need to be doing."
That's an epiphany. That's my calling. That's what I really want to do, make a difference in people's lives.
It's a basic human need, giving and receiving.
What a resource in our community.
The School of Philanthropy will be the very first in the world.
This is a crown jewel in Indianapolis.
I begin with Bob Payton's definition of philanthropy as voluntary action for the public good. And that means voluntary association, that is people getting together to get things done. And then for individuals who become involved in philanthropy, it's the giving of their time, but then in fact it is the giving of their funds, the giving of money, the giving of material things to help the public good.
The Center on Philanthropy to me is like a cultural understanding in a larger sense of why we're all here. It dissects the political, the environmental, the cultural, the religious side of giving and what makes a human being tick in that moment where they feel so compelled that they have to do something.
We have the Lake Institute on Faith and Giving, looking at this intersection between faith, philanthropy, and giving.
Donors across a wide spectrum say that all of their charitable giving is in some way influenced by their religious and spiritual values.
We have the Women's Philanthropy Institute looking at the gender lens of philanthropy.
I have been able to put together an interest in philanthropy, an interest in women's issues, and my interest in history through this program. So I have been looking a lot at the history of women's philanthropy. And at the time we thought, well, we'll give it a couple of years and see if anything comes of it. Well, by the end of 2 years, just this past June, we had already raised $1 million in new money for Indiana University.
We have really developed our international programs. Currently, I think the most developed one is probably emerging in China.
I certainly think it's a valuable resources. Actually, the center is for nonprofit professionals around the world.
Any study of philanthropy and nonprofits needs to begin with human motivations, understanding human beings. Research contributes to practice, practice contributes to research, and that we have to be able to take what we're doing out into the field to help nonprofit organizations. Donors are significant in any nonprofit organization. Nonprofit organizations cannot do their work without donors.
I wanted to understand why our donors give so generously the way they give. I want to know the science behind that and what is it that makes people tick in those moments. And the thing that's integrated into the whole context is this tone of tolerance, which is, I think, one of the most beautiful things this day and age that is something the center does well.
The School of Philanthropy, as it brings all these assets together, provides benefits to organizations like the American Red Cross.
Having a disciplined way to talk to donors, to talk to constituents, and to bring those necessary resources in is part of the structure and part of the environment of the nonprofit world.
Those organizations which put a process in place and then manage that process and engage people in that process, their board members and other volunteers as well, those are the organizations that succeed. And you see United Way succeeding pretty much year after year because they have a process in place and they manage that process.
United Way of Central Indiana and Center on Philanthropy have had a very long relationship, and most recently United Way Worldwide worked with Center on Philanthropy to bring training to United Ways throughout the country, and it'll have a significant impact.
It's a great reflection of our societal values, and that I use leadership in saying philanthropy and nonprofits are an important part of our society.
None of us dreamed it would become what it became. That we were just trying to initiate the study of philanthropy and fundraising and nonprofits inside the university.
We had the fundraising school pre-existed the Center on Philanthropy, and that, Hank and Dottie Rosso brought the fundraising school to Indiana University and to IUPUI as the cornerstone of creating the Center on Philanthropy. It's a multidisciplinary program, and so you can take different tools, the tools of an economist, the tools of a historian, tools of a sociologist. You can look at statistics, you can look at the ethics of giving. All of these things you bring to bear
and to understand how and why people give, the extent of it, and what its effect is on society.
We teach a process about building relationships and sustaining those relationships over time, and those relationships are usually what lead to successful fundraising, because donors care and they want to support organizations and they want to make a difference.
Significant funding from Lilly Endowment, Kellogg Foundation, Atlantic Philanthropies, and many, many others. Individuals who set up endowed chairs, individuals who funded institutes and centers, even as we were building this. Those are the people that really made this happen.
There is a complete disconnect in so many areas, and philanthropy is the thing that I think is the glue to put a lot of it back together.
That's why I'm an effective fundraiser, because I learned those techniques. I know how to engage people. I know how to build those relationships.
25 years from now, when we're celebrating the 50th anniversary, people will be astonished at the number of students who are graduating from our programs and who are participating in our research, and the number of faculty that we have, and so on.
Actually, a lot of our interns come from the center. Some of our staff comes from the center. We have staff currently enrolled at the center to get their graduate degrees and their certifications.
For almost 10 years, we've regularly had an intern from the Center on Philanthropy here at the Red Cross. It's people who come in here willing to work hard, willing to learn, but willing to share what the projects and research they've worked on. That makes all of our workers better.
Without two people, the center would never have happened. Probably the first one would be Hank and Dottie Rosso.
Doing fundraising the correct way, above board, was the most important part of getting the money, and to be honest about everything, I think, was Hank's main goal.
On the other hand, if Gene Temple had not become involved, I don't think there would have been a Center on Philanthropy at Indiana University.
Gene was bound determined he was going to have the school at Indiana, and he worked all the way to get it there.
The whole idea of having a center that would study philanthropy, fundraising, nonprofit organizations, etc. The other two being Charles Johnson, who was then at the Lilly Endowment, and Hank Rosso, who was then the director of the fundraising school.
And it became pretty clear that there were more people needed to work in the field. But then the question was, how would those people be prepared?
It was a discussion between Hank and me about the possibility of bringing the fundraising school to the university. And I don't remember this, but Hank says that he remembers that my response was that I think we could do that. And it's just wonderful to be looking back now at the beginning of this, sitting here 25 years from the beginning, and we have a school of philanthropy.
Somebody may have a great breakthrough in research. Someone else may raise huge amounts of money to help another nonprofit. Someone may work and raise money to help the Mayo Clinic find the breakthrough for cancer.
One person at a time for a particular organization can make a significant difference, can transform an organization, and ultimately a community.
One student from the Center of Philanthropy is now changing early childhood education for all of our children in central Indiana. 250 child care centers will be impacted because of his work. Thousands of children from low-income families will be able to have better quality child care, a better early start in school. One person has an amazing impact.
So to think that here we are celebrating 25 years, and it's at a time when the center is looking at, and the university has approved that the center would become a school, and then how further appropriate. The Gene Temple is receiving the Rosso Philanthropy Award at this same celebration. That you talk about the stars aligning, that does it.
Well, 25 years, to have accomplished as much as the center has in that time is really remarkable and something to be deeply proud of. And I know I speak for my husband in saying that we are very, very proud to have the new School of Philanthropy, soon to be School of Philanthropy, as part of Indiana University, to be celebrating its 25th anniversary. Here's to the next 25.